Imagine this. You're sorting through your loose change, probably looking for coffee money, and boom, you stumble upon a 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Nothing fancy, right? Wrong. What if I told you that little copper coin could be worth $1.8 million? Yes, you heard that right, a million. Not bad for a coin that probably passed through vending machines and couch cushions for years. Today, we're diving into the wild story of the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, its jaw-dropping value, and how you might just hit the jackpot with one. Oh, and stick around because I'll share a story about a time I thought I found a rare coin, but instead got a life lesson. Let's get into it. What's the deal with no-mint mark coins? Okay, quick coin lesson for the newbies. Most US coins have a tiny letter stamped on them that tells you where they were made, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and so on. But sometimes, a coin slips through the cracks without a mint mark. It's like the factory forgot to sign its work. Usually, no big deal, but in rare cases, this error makes the coin insanely valuable. Now, the 2006 Lincoln penny is supposed to have a mint mark if it was minted anywhere besides Philadelphia. But a rare batch of pennies with no mint mark was accidentally released, and the rest is history. Collectors love these unique errors. It's like the coin world version of finding a four-leaf clover. Not all no-mint mark pennies are created equal. The value depends on rarity, condition, and demand. For the 2006 Lincoln penny, it's a perfect storm. Only a handful of these coins were ever discovered, and their pristine condition, graded as a mess 70 by professionals, makes them stand out. Add the collector frenzy, and suddenly, one of these pennies fetched $1.8 million at auction. That's more than most people's homes. But before you start flipping your coin jars upside down, know this: most 2006 pennies with no mint mark aren't worth that much. The million-dollar ones are flawless, untouched, and look like they just left the mint yesterday. Think of it like this. You wouldn't pay millions for a crumpled old baseball card, but a mint-condition rookie card? That's a different story. A relatable coin hunt fail now. Let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold, or copper in this case. I was going through my childhood coin collection, the one where you stick quarters into those cardboard maps, when I spotted a 1999 penny with no mint mark. My heart raced. I was sure it was worth thousands. I ran to a local coin shop, feeling like I'd cracked the Da Vinci Code of pocket change. The guy behind the counter took one look at my penny and said, "Yeah, this is worth 1 cent. Talk about a buzzkill." Turns out, Philadelphia pennies usually don't have mint marks. Lesson learned. Not all no-mint mark coins are treasures. But hey, at least I got a story out of it, and now I triple-check every coin I find. How to spot a rare penny? So, how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? Look for a 2006 penny. If there's no little letter under the date, you might be onto something. The shinier and newer it looks, the better. Scratches or wear will hurt its value. If you think you've got a winner, take it to a professional coin grader. It's worth the investment if your coin could be worth millions. And there you have it, folks. The story of how a tiny, overlooked coin became worth $1.8 million. Who knew checking your spare change could lead to life-changing cash? Next time you're digging through your car's cup holder or cleaning out that old junk drawer, keep an eye out for a 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. You never know. It might just be your golden ticket. Now, if you love discovering hidden treasures and learning how to turn pocket change into big bucks, hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin enthusiasts. Don't forget to like this video and share it with a friend who could use some luck. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be the next millionaire we talk about. Hey there, coin collectors, curious folks, and anyone who's ever wondered if that old penny hiding at the bottom of your couch is worth more than $1. Well, hold on to your change jars because today we're talking about one of the most mind-blowing coins out there. The 1951 wheat penny with a mint mark. Spoiler alert, it could be worth $1.9 million. Yup, you heard that right. I'm not joking. I know, you're probably thinking, there's no way. That's gotta be a typo. But trust me, it's real, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot it and why it's so special. So, grab your magnifying glass, because things are about to get interesting. Alright, let's take a deep dive into this penny phenomenon. You might be thinking, what makes a 1951 penny so special? I mean, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. While most 1951 pennies are pretty run-of-the-mill, there's a rare version of this coin that's got collectors drooling. It's the 1951 wheat penny with a mint mark. But not just any mint mark, it's the one from the Denver Mint. That little D at the bottom is the key to unlocking this coin's enormous value. So, how did we get to $1.9 million? Well, let's rewind a bit. Mint marks are little letters found on most US coins, and they tell you where the coin was made. The Denver Mint uses a D mint mark, and for some reason, the 1951 D wheat penny is crazy rare. It's not that they didn't make enough of them. It's that not many of them survived in perfect condition. We're talking about a penny in mint state condition. Essentially, it looks like it was just made yesterday. These things are super hard to find, which is why their value has skyrocketed. But let's talk about value. The 1951 D wheat penny in good condition is worth around $1 to $3. So, you're probably wondering, well, how do we go from $3 to $1.9 million? The secret is in the grade of the coin. You see, when a coin is graded, it's evaluated based on its condition. Think of it like a report card for a coin. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. A perfect grade for this penny would be MS 67 or above. But here's the kicker. A coin in MS 67 condition can be worth a whopping $1.9 million. Why? Because finding one in that pristine state is rarer than finding a needle in a haystack. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, I've got a 1951 penny, but it's got a few scratches and maybe a little dirt on it. Is it worth $1.9 million too? Unfortunately, not exactly. But hey, if you've got one that's in good shape, you could still be holding on to something that's worth more than face value. In fact, most people don't realize how much their pennies are worth. I didn't. Let me share a quick personal story. A few years ago, I was going through some old coins my grandpa left me, and I found a bunch of 1940s and 1950s pennies. I honestly didn't think much of them. I mean, they're pennies, right? But on a whim, I decided to get a couple of them appraised. Imagine my surprise when the coin dealer told me I had a few pennies worth a lot more than I ever imagined. One of them turned out to be a rare 1944 steel penny, and while it wasn't worth $1.9 million, it was still worth several $100. That was a nice surprise, to say the least. So, moral of the story? Check your change. It doesn't hurt to take a closer look at your old coins, because you never know. You might have something valuable hiding right under your nose. So there you have it. The 1951 wheat penny with a Denver Mint mark could potentially be worth millions if you find the right one in perfect condition. It's all about the rarity, the mint mark, and the condition of the coin. If you've got one, it's time to dust it off, get it graded, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be sitting on a small fortune. Now, before you start checking every penny in your collection or your piggy bank, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips like these. I'll be back soon with more insider knowledge on coins worth money, valuable finds, and maybe even a few more jaw-dropping stories. And hey, if you found this video helpful, share it with your friends. They'll thank you later when they check their coins and find out they're rich too. You're flipping through a bunch of pennies you found in your couch cushions, maybe even considering turning them into your own personal penny bank. Then, bam, you come across a 1988 penny. You take a look at it, and instead of just adding it to your jar, you pause. Could this humble little coin actually be worth more than you thought? Well, buckle up because today, we're diving into a penny that could potentially put a cool $1,000,000 in your pocket. Yep, you heard me right, 1 million. Let's talk about the legendary 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. All right, before you start checking your pockets or diving into that old coin jar, let me hit you with the basics. Most of us are used to seeing mint marks on our coins, right? That little letter on the coin, usually by the date, tells you where it was made. If you see an S, it means the coin came from San Francisco. D means Denver, and P? That's for Philly. But the 1988 penny, oh, it's got a special twist. The 1988 penny is an otherwise normal coin in terms of design. It's got the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, with the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what makes this penny so rare is the absence of that mint mark. And this is where the magic happens. See, most pennies from 1988 were produced with the D mint mark, indicating they came from the Denver Mint. But a tiny, mysterious batch of these pennies, just a few thousand of them, came out of the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark at all. Talk about a glitch in the matrix now. You might be thinking, okay, so it's a weird little error. Big deal, right? Well, hold on to your hats, because here's where it gets interesting. These no mint mark 1988 pennies are rare. I mean, really rare. While it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number of how many are out there, experts say it's somewhere in the thousands, if not less. And when rarity meets demand, the value skyrockets. So, if you happen to come across one of these little beauties, you're looking at a potential market value of, get this, $1 million. Crazy, right? I mean, it's just a penny. You're probably thinking, how in the world is a penny worth that much? Well, my friend, this is where rarity and collector passion collide. Coin collectors love these kinds of mistakes. It's like finding a rare Pokemon card in your cereal box as a kid. Everyone wants a piece of the action. I actually had a similar experience a few years back. I found a random coin in a pile of change, just a standard-looking penny. But I kept it around, thinking, it might be worth a couple of cents more than the others. Fast forward to a few months ago when I was doing a little cleaning out of my desk drawers and bam, I found it again. Turns out, it wasn't just a random penny after all. It was a 1955 double-die penny. Not quite $1 million, but definitely worth a lot more than I thought. I felt like a coin detective. So, moral of the story, never underestimate a penny. Now, don't go running off to sell your 1988 pennies just yet. The value of these rare coins depends on their condition. A well-worn penny will obviously be worth less than one that's in mint condition. If you find a shiny one, or maybe even one that's still in that fresh out of the mint look, you've got yourself a potential jackpot. In fact, many collectors prefer these coins in uncirculated condition, which means they've never been spent and have stayed pristine over the years. The best way to check your penny is by giving it a careful inspection. Look closely at the date and the absence of a mint mark. If it's sitting there on your 1988 penny, you could be looking at your ticket to a hefty payday. The coin world can be tricky. A lot of counterfeit coins and even reproductions flood the market. So before you get too excited about your newfound treasure, I highly recommend getting it appraised by a professional coin dealer or a grading service. That way, you can be sure you're sitting on something worth your while. So there you have it, folks. The 1988 no mint mark penny. It's the ultimate what-if coin that could change your life. Well, if you happen to have one in great condition lying around. But whether or not you strike it rich, the world of coins is full of surprises. That's why I always say, never underestimate the power of a penny, because sometimes they hold a whole lot more than you think. If you enjoyed learning about this amazing coin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and stories from the world of coin collecting. You never know. You might just find the next $1 million penny in your pocket. Keep collecting, stay curious, and as always, happy hunting. Hey, this is old. I wonder if it's worth anything. You're not alone. But today, I've got a story that might make you want to go digging through that change jar or check your coin collection. A coin that was made in 1968 that's got no mint mark and is worth, wait for it, over $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A 1968 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Crazy, right? Well, stick around because we're about to dive into how this coin went from a forgotten piece of pocket change to a jaw-dropping collector's item worth a fortune. Now, let's break it down. The year is 1968, and you know what's going on in the world, right? The Vietnam War is raging. There's a ton of social change happening, and people are walking around with pennies in their pockets without even thinking twice. Little did they know, there was a specific penny being minted that year that could one day become one of the most sought-after coins in the world. Most of the 1968 pennies are what we call normal. They've got the D mint mark if they were made in Denver, or the S mint mark if they were made in San Francisco. But here's where it gets interesting. A very small number of 1968 pennies were produced in Philadelphia, and wait for it, they didn't have a mint mark. So, if you've got a 1968 penny with no mint mark, chances are it's a rare error coin that could be worth an absolute fortune. Now, you might be thinking, why would a penny with no mint mark be so valuable? The US Mint generally made sure to put a mint mark on each coin to show where it was produced. But for some reason, A batch of 1968 pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint with no mark. This tiny mistake makes it a special and rare piece of history. The thing is, most people didn't realize its value at the time. They were just tossing them in jars, piggy banks, or worse, just spinning them on a candy bar. Fast forward to today, and collectors are hunting for these little guys like their hidden treasure. One of these 1968 no mint mark pennies was sold for over $1.1 million at auction. That's right, over $1 million. Now, I don't know about you, but I sure would love to stumble upon one of those. But it's not just about the money. There's something magical about finding a piece of history, especially in something as simple as a penny. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, and let's be honest, who doesn't love a good garage sale, right? I was rummaging through a box of old coins, and I came across a 1968 penny. It didn't have a mint mark, so naturally, I thought, hey, it could be the one. I immediately Googled it, but no, it was just a regular 1968 penny. Still, I held on to it for sentimental value. Because, hey, even a regular penny has its history. But it just goes to show you, sometimes the coolest coins are hiding in plain sight. Now, back to the big bucks. A 1968 penny with no mint mark doesn't just show up every day. The market for these coins is selective, and it's about finding the right one in good condition. A penny that's in great shape, with no wear and tear, has a much higher chance of getting noticed by collectors and dealers. So, what should you do if you think you've got one of these rare pennies? Well, first, take a deep breath and stop spending it. Then, check the condition of your coin. Is it in good shape? Can you read the details clearly? If it looks like it's in great condition, you might want to get it appraised by a professional or send it to a coin grading service to get an official value. And remember, condition is everything. A penny that looks worn and scratched is going to be worth a lot less than one that's still shiny and fresh. If you want to keep your coin game strong and stay on top of valuable finds like this, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, strategies, and stories about coins that are worth way more than you might think. Don't miss out on future videos, because you never know, your next treasure might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with a whole lot more valuable coins to talk about. You're digging through a jar of pennies, just a regular old day of hunting for spare change, and suddenly, you stumble across a 1982 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, right? Well, hold on to your hats because that, just a penny, could actually be worth over $1 million. Yep, you heard me right, folks. This little copper coin might just be worth $1.2 million in the right condition. Now, let's break it down, because this is one of those stories you'll want to tell your friends about. So, grab a snack, sit back, and let's get into the crazy world of coin collecting. Alright, first things first. If you don't already know, the 1982 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny was made by the U.S. Mint in Denver. In most cases, a penny is just a penny. It's got Abraham Lincoln's face on it, the word liberty, and in God we trust on the front, and a memorial on the back. Pretty standard stuff. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched up the composition of the penny. Before that, pennies were made of mostly copper, but they decided to mix in some zinc. So, if you have a 1982 penny in your hands, there's a chance it's either copper or zinc, depending on the exact date it was minted. Some of these pennies came out with an error. Yep, the 1982 D Mint Mark penny that you want to keep your eyes peeled for is one that was supposed to be made with a copper core, but somehow ended up being made out of zinc. That's right, a zinc penny that was supposed to be copper. Talk about a mistake worth millions. Now, don't get too excited and start running to your piggy bank just yet. This mistake didn't happen with every penny minted in 1982. In fact, it's quite rare, and that rarity is what makes it so valuable. In fact, there's only a handful of these special error pennies still out there, which is why they're worth so much. But wait, there's more to the story. For this penny to fetch anywhere near that $1.2 million value, it needs to be in mint condition. We're talking about a coin that looks like it's been in a time capsule for the last 40+ years. If your penny is scratched, dinged, or faded, don't get your hopes up too high. But if you do happen to have one in pristine condition, congrats. You might be holding a small fortune. Let me tell you a quick personal story to give you some perspective. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale. Shocking, right? I came across a big old jar of pennies, and just like any dedicated coin hunter, I started sorting through them. Most of them were typical worn-out coins. But then, I kid you not, I found a 1982 penny with a D mint mark that looked a little different. I wasn't sure at first, but I set it aside because, hey, you never know with pennies. After some research and a few hours of Googling, I realized it could be one of these rare error coins. Long story short, I took it to an expert, and guess what? It wasn't worth $1 million, but it was definitely worth more than the 1 cent face value. Sometimes, a little research can turn your spare change into something more. So, to wrap it up, if you happen to find a 1982 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, because it could be worth a whole lot more than you think. And remember, the key factors here are rarity, condition, and the unique error in the composition. It might take some time and effort to figure out if your penny is one of those million-dollar finds. But hey, what's a little effort when you're sitting on a potential fortune? Before you go rushing off to check your coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I've got more coin tips, tricks, and strategies coming your way that can help you find some hidden treasures in your spare change. So, if you're ready to dive deeper into the world of coins that could be worth big bucks, don't miss out on what's next. So, you're casually strolling through your change jar one day, just trying to find enough pennies to buy a pack of gum. And then bam, you come across something that makes your heart skip a beat. A penny from 2013, with no mint mark. Wait, what? Yep, you heard that right. A 2013 penny, no mint mark, and it's worth, drumroll, please, over $1 million. A penny worth $1 million? That sounds like something you'd hear in one of those cheesy late-night infomercials. But trust me, this is the real deal. Stick around, because I'm about to break down why this little penny is a game changer for collectors and how you can spot one in your own pocket change. So, let's take a moment to appreciate the humble penny. It's been a part of our daily lives since 1909, and most of us don't give it a second thought. They roll around in our couches, we toss them in jars, or if you're like me, they just get thrown into the nearest wishing well when you're feeling extra generous. There's a particular penny from 2013 that is anything but ordinary. Most pennies from that year have a mint mark, which is that little D or S on the front of the coin. The D means it was made in Denver, and the S means it came from San Francisco. But for some reason, a handful of 2013 pennies were struck without any mint mark at all. This tiny mistake has caused a massive stir in the world of coin collectors. So, why does a 2013 penny with no mint mark hold such value? Well, it's all about rarity and the mystery surrounding its production. You see, pennies without a mint mark were never supposed to exist. It was a big mistake by the US Mint, and it turns out a rare mistake is a collector's dream. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I found a coin in my change, and at first glance, it looked like just another typical penny. I put it in my jar, not thinking much of it. But then, a friend of mine who's a serious coin collector stopped by and casually mentioned, "Hey, check the mint mark on that 2013 penny." I rolled my eyes, thinking it was just a friendly suggestion to check my spare change for a treasure. But when I checked it, lo and behold, there it was, no mint mark. I almost passed out. Imagine finding a penny that could be worth over $1 million. I didn't sell it, though. I was too scared to let go of something so rare. And yes, I learned my lesson about checking my change a lot more carefully. So, let's talk about the current market value of these 2013 no mint mark pennies. As of today, some of these coins have sold for up to $1.3 million. That's right. It's the kind of money that could make you question every penny you've ever tossed away. Some collectors are paying big bucks for these because they're so rare, and the US Mint never intended to make them. With such a limited number in circulation, the value skyrocketed. Think of it as finding a rare Pokemon card in a pack of cereal. You just never know when luck's going to strike. Now, how do you spot one? It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world, but it's not impossible either. The 2013 no mint mark penny isn't different from its counterparts in terms of appearance. There's no special design or feature, just the lack of a mint mark on the obverse side of the coin. It may be a little hard to see at first, so get up close, use a magnifying glass or a smartphone camera and look for the missing mint mark. And hey, don't forget to check your change. It's also important to note that not every 2013 penny without a mint mark is worth $1 million. The coin's condition, rarity, and the specific story behind its minting will influence its value. So, just because you found one in your change doesn't automatically mean you're about to retire early. But don't lose hope. There are still plenty of rare finds out there. Okay, so now that you're fully informed and probably rushing to check all your loose change, don't blame you, I would too. I want to leave you with one final thought. Coin collecting isn't just about the big money finds. It's about learning, discovering, and having fun with your collection. Who knows what you'll stumble upon in that old jar of coins? Maybe it'll be a penny worth a fortune. Or maybe it'll just be another 1999 penny that'll make you question why we still make them. Either way, keep digging, because you never know when your next great find will come. And if you want more tips on coins that could be worth a ton of cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on more coin secrets and treasure hunting adventures. Thanks for watching and happy hunting, everyone. You might just have $1 million penny lying around without even knowing it. Now, I've got a little secret for you today that might just make you rethink how you've been looking at your spare change. You're walking around, hands full of loose change, maybe a penny here, a penny there. But what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth, drumroll, $1.4 million? Yes, you heard me right. No, I'm not joking, and I'm not talking about some rare golden coin hidden in a treasure chest. I'm talking about a 1991 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just check your pocket and think, wait, what if I have one of those? Alright, let's get into it. Now, when you think of the penny, I'm sure the last thing on your mind is, this could be worth a small fortune. Most of us treat pennies like they're just, well, pennies. But what if I told you there's a 1991 D Mint Mark penny out there that could be worth an absolute ton of money? I mean, $1.4 million. That's a lot of zeros, my friends. Let me break it down for you. First, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. The 1991 D penny is a regular coin that was minted in Denver, but here's the kicker. There's a very specific one with a major mistake that turns it into a goldmine for collectors. This penny has a rare error, where the design didn't fully strike the coin during the minting process. It's a pretty big deal in the world of coin collectors. A little flaw, a little mistake, and boom, the value skyrockets. You might be thinking, how do I even spot one of these rarities? That's a great question. It's not like you'll find this error just by casually glancing at your change. The key is in the minting error. On a normal penny, the image of Abraham Lincoln is crisp and well-defined. But on this special one, Lincoln's face might look a little blurry or faint. And if that's not enough, sometimes the lettering is off-center or faded. It's the imperfections that make it so valuable. Coin collectors go wild for stuff like this. Now, let's get to the million-dollar question, pun intended. How much is this penny worth? Well, in the right condition, and if it's got that error, we're talking about a coin worth around $1.4 million. I know, it's mind-blowing. One coin, sitting around in someone's collection, sitting around in their change jar, could be worth more than most people make in a lifetime. It's pretty insane when you think about it. I've got to tell you a quick story from my own coin hunting days. A few years ago, I was doing some casual cleaning, organizing my old coins. I wasn't expecting much, just some basic finds. Then, out of nowhere, I stumbled across a penny that was just a little off. At first, I thought I had made a mistake, but after a little research, I found out that it was a rare mint error. I thought I hit the jackpot. Sadly, it wasn't a $1.4 million penny, but it was worth a decent amount. The excitement of that discovery, though? Totally real. It just goes to show that you never know what you might find in your pocket change, so how do you make sure you don't miss out on this golden opportunity? First, you need to check the mint mark on your penny. If it's a 1991 D, pay close attention to the details. The imperfections are subtle, but they're worth the search. If you find one, you might want to take it to a coin expert or get it appraised. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on a potential windfall. Alright, folks, now you're all set to go on your own coin hunt. Who knows, You might just have a rare 1991 penny hiding in that jar you've got tucked away. And remember, it's not just about finding rare coins. It's about having fun while you do it. Coin collecting is all about learning, exploring, and uncovering hidden treasures. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new today, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin strategies coming your way, and you won't want to miss a single one. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone through a pile of old change only to find something so rare, so special, that it made your heart skip a beat? Well, buckle up, because today I've got a story for you that might just make you look at your pocket change in a whole new way. I'm talking about the 1977 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yes, you heard that right. This little penny could be worth up to $1.5 million. And I can practically hear you saying, wait, a penny? Worth $1 million? Believe me, it's not as crazy as it sounds, and today, I'm going to explain why. First off, let's talk about the basics. The 1977 penny is just like any other penny you might find in your spare change, right? Except for one tiny thing, the lack of a mint mark. You see, most of the pennies produced by the US Mint have a little letter on them to show where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark at all, which usually means it was minted in Philadelphia. But in 1977, something went awry. Some pennies came out of the mint without any mint mark, which was a rare mistake that caused some of them to be worth an insane amount of money today. But why, you ask, are these error pennies worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. In the coin world, the rarer, the better. And these mintless pennies are so rare that they've turned into a collector's dream come true. Some savvy buyers are willing to pay huge amounts for just one penny because they know how valuable it is and how difficult it is to find. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, cool, but how do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, I've got you covered. First of all, you'll want to look closely at the date. If it's 1977 and there's no mint mark, then you might just be holding a jackpot. But here's the catch. Just because it's missing a mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth millions. The real money comes into play when the penny is in excellent condition, known as uncirculated or proof-like. If the penny has been bouncing around in your change jar for years, it probably won't fetch that $1 million price. However, if you've got a pristine, uncirculated one, then we might be talking big bucks here. The top-graded specimens have been sold for over $1.5 million. Yes, million. Now, here's a fun little story. A while back, I went to a yard sale, as we all do when we're hunting for treasure, and there was this old shoebox filled with coins. Most of them were just your average, run-of-the-mill pennies. But one of them caught my eye. It was a 1977 penny, and I could have sworn it didn't have a mint mark. Now, I'm no expert, so I didn't immediately think I was looking at a $1 million coin, but I held on to it anyway. After doing a little research and sending it to a professional, turns out it was a real gem. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the best condition, so no $1 million payoff. But it definitely got me thinking about how lucky some collectors can get when they find these treasures. So, if you're lucky enough to stumble upon a 1977 penny with no mint mark in your spare change, remember, you could be holding onto a potential gold mine. Just don't get too excited if it's been through the ringer. And even if it's not worth millions, it could still be a valuable piece of history. This is just one example of the many hidden treasures out there in your pockets, jars, and drawers. Coins can hold way more value than we often realize, and who knows, you might just find the next big one. So, if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that bell so you'll be the first to know when I drop new content about rare coins and the strategies you can use to find your own fortune. Who knows, maybe that next coin you find could be worth more than you ever imagined.